In the next 30 minutes, you're gonna learn exactly how to start and succeed on YouTube in 2023. Hey, my name is Ryan Maya, and I've put together a content creation course, but in this video specifically is a snippet of my YouTube section. What you're gonna learn today is exactly how YouTube actually works, how to write super engaging titles, how to create the best thumbnails just like the professional YouTubers, and once people click on your videos, how to actually keep them watching your videos. So do me a favor, go ahead, get out a pen and paper, enjoy the next 30 minutes. If you have to go back and watch a few sections, do so, but this is an awesome video to get you started on YouTube in 2023. We're now entering the section which probably excites me the most, which is talking about YouTube and YouTube growth. And this is where I feel you can make the most impact if you get it right. Now, there's a few factors that go into winning on YouTube, and we're gonna go through all of that right now, and I'm gonna give you the top points to be successful on YouTube. So first, you have to know, how does YouTube actually work? Like, is it just a social media platform? Do you just post videos and grow? No, there's a lot of key elements to what actually makes YouTube tick and how it actually works and how the growth works on the platform. It's very simple. When you post videos on YouTube, the YouTube algorithm looks at your video and looks at two basic things. And those are click-through rate and average view duration. That is all the YouTube algorithm cares about, is these two things. Now in English, what does that actually mean? How many people click on your video, and then how long people watch your video. So click-through rate is how many people click on your video, and average view duration is how long people are actually watching your video. That is all the YouTube algorithm cares about, and that's all the YouTube algorithm looks at when it's like, hey, do I want to promote this video to more people? Do I not want to give this video any views? Are people clicking on this video? Are people watching the whole thing? That's all the YouTube algorithm cares about. So how exactly do you win on YouTube? It's very simple. You have to have your videos get more clicks and make people watch the whole video. If that's the only goal you have in mind when making a YouTube video, is how do I get more people to click on this video? And then how do I get them to watch the entire thing? If you can master that, you will have explosive growth on YouTube. That's what the best in the business do, the best in the YouTube business. The best creators, that's what they do. They've mastered getting people to see their video and click on it and then watch the whole entire thing. If you can master those two things, you will be a successful YouTuber. So let's start with click-through rate and explaining what actually is click-through rate and how to improve your click-through rate. Click-through rate can be known as packaging. So there's two parts in the packaging with click-through rate. And it's basically explained as a thumbnail and a title. That is what your packaging is. So for example, I took Alex Hormozy's video. You could see the thumbnail is this picture. So it's Alex plus all of the ideas. And then the title, 14 life lessons that I wish I knew earlier. So the thumbnail shows all of these ideas that made him millions. And then the title explains 14 life lessons that he wished he knew earlier in life to probably make millions faster, right? Each alone, they're cool, right? 14 lessons or 14 life lessons I wish I knew earlier. If someone told me that, I really don't, it sounds cool, but there's no context there, right? Like why would I listen to that? What purpose is that going to tell me? How is that going to help me? Same with the thumbnail. Right, the thumbnail is telling a little bit of a story. If you saw the video just with the thumbnail, you could kind of put the picture together like, oh, these little things made me millions. But when you put them together, that's when they work in harmony as your packaging, right? 14 life lessons that I wish I knew earlier, and they probably made him millions. And now I'm thinking, hey, what are these little 14 things? So that's probably going to make me want to click on the video, getting that click-through rate higher. I want to stress this tremendously. You cannot overlook thumbnails. YouTube and the platform, there's so many creators nowadays making great quality content in all different types of niches, whether it's finance, whether it's entertainment, whether it's cooking, whatever it is. People are getting really, really good at this stuff. So in order for your videos to stand out and your thumbnails and titles to stand out, you cannot overlook this aspect because it's the first thing people see. And if it looks shitty on the outside, why would they think the video is going to be good, right? So whenever I see a shitty thumbnail, your brain literally scrolls past and it's like, there's no way I'm watching that video or clicking on that video. So thumbnails are crucial to YouTube growth. A good versus bad thumbnail literally can make or break you. You can put all of your effort and spend a week or 2 weeks filming a video and then a week or 2 weeks editing a video. And if you don't package it correctly and you have a shitty thumbnail and a shitty title, all of your hard work will have been for nothing, because I promise you that video will get 0 views, no matter how good that video is. If your video was literally The Wolf of Wall Street, but the cover was not great, the title, the packaging was not great, that video is not going to get any views. So I promise you, you cannot overlook this. You have to take thumbnails and titles seriously. When I started taking thumbnails and titles seriously and putting actual effort into them and taking an hour, 2 hours to create these thumbnails, that is when I started seeing exponential growth in my channels. Now let's talk about what actually makes a great thumbnail. There's a few different aspects that you can put together, but I've pretty much broken it down to 3 simple steps that you could focus on when making your thumbnails. 3 elements of a fire thumbnail include: it's number 1, simple. It's number 2, it exaggerates something. And number 3, it has conflict or mystery in the thumbnail. So let's dive a little bit deeper into each. A thumbnail being simple means that when someone looks at it, they can understand the message right away. It's simple. It doesn't have a lot of colors. I'd say no more than 3 main colors. And there's few shapes. There's few graphics. It's very simple to look at. That way, when you're scrolling down your feed or a viewer scrolling down their feed and they see it, they can immediately recognize what that video is probably going to be about, right? Keep it as simple as possible. When it's too busy, your eyes get lost and you can't really understand what the video is going to be about. Number 2 is to exaggerate. So you're simplifying, but making an obvious version of the point you're trying to make. So you want, it goes back to simple and then picking back off. Simple, but exaggerate. So if you are scrolling down your feed, you see something that catches your attention, and that's what the exaggeration portion is meant to do, but it's also simplified at the same time. And then having a conflict or mystery in the thumbnail. So when a viewer looks at the thumbnail, they should have a question and be like, hey, what is that? What's happening in that thumbnail? Let me click on it so I can find out why. Now, I think these examples, I'll be able to explain it a little bit more clearly. So Ryan Trahan created this video. I survived the world's quietest room. And he packaged it with this thumbnail. So you can assume the video is going to be that he spent 41 minutes in the world's quietest room, and he looks like he's in some sort of anguish. So it's simple, right? There's 3 main colors: white, black, and orange. Simple. It exaggerates, right? He's in a jumpsuit. It looks like he's held in jail. It looks like he's having a really rough time sitting in a room, right? That's exaggerating something. And there's conflict or mystery. You're thinking, what is the world's quietest room? Why did he have to survive it? Like, is there danger being in the world's quietest room? So it tags onto all 3, and there's a reason that video got 20 million views in just 1 year. Simple, it exaggerated, and it had some conflict or mystery. Mr. Beast, 95 million views. Would you swim the sharks for $100,000? Let's go back to simple. Not a lot of shapes. 3 main colors, white, blue, and the shark is gray. 2 main graphics. It's his simple face and the simple shark. Would you swim with sharks for $100,000? It's clearly exaggerating that he was swimming with a great white. Obviously, there wouldn't be a great white swimming with him. Or conflict or mystery. Is he actually swimming with this great white? So you're picture you scrolling down your feed and you see that video. You're immediately drawn to it because there's a guy next to a great white shark underwater. You're like, holy shit. And then 2, it's like, is he actually swimming with the shark? And if he's offering $100,000, maybe they're actually swimming with great whites. So it tacks onto all 3 of those very well. Just another example. This is Noah Kagan asking super yacht owners how to make $1 million. very simple in the fact that the text really stands out. So how did you get rich? That's the whole purpose of that video. It's exaggerating because it looks like he's in the ocean asking people on a big yacht, right? The big yacht is the exaggerating portion. Hey, how did you get rich? And the conflict and mystery is, how did these rich people actually buy the boat? So it makes you want to click and find out. Same with Grant Stephan and the $78 Tesla. How did he buy a Tesla for $78? There's a lot of conflict and mystery there. Like, how did he do it? It's simple because there's basically 2-3 colors. There's a big Tesla, $78 Tesla, calling it out, and it's obviously exaggerating because he probably didn't buy a Tesla for $78, but that's pretty interesting, right? You want to see, like, how did he do that? Why did he do that? So these are all great examples of great thumbnails and great titles, and the views all show for it. Now, the second part to YouTube's algorithm is average view duration, or as YouTube likes to refer to it as retention, right? How long someone watches your video and how long they stay, right? So basically means how long someone watches your video after they click it. So you click on a video, it's a 10-minute video. If you stay for 5 minutes of that 10-minute video, that video had a 50% retention rate. So here's a couple of examples of exactly what I'm talking about. On the left, you have some good retention. On the right, you have bad retention. So you can see at the 1 minute and 29 mark, 80% of the people who clicked on that video are still watching the video. That is extremely, extremely good. Where a bad video is 42% of people are watching after 1 minute and 30 seconds. You can see there's a steep drop off right here in the beginning of the video. That means the intro of this video was not good. I didn't clearly communicate what the video was going to be about. I didn't hook my viewer in. So a lot of people clicked. They watched it for a little bit and they're like, I'm bouncing. And that really hurts the video's performance. Whereas this video has very strong retention for the first minute and 30 seconds. There's not that much of a steep drop off and more people are watching, and you can see they're staying for almost 40% of people are watching the entire video, which is a really, really good stat. Here, it finished like only 10% of people stay all the way to the end of the video. So this is why this video is performing well. This video is not performing as well. So you can see 62% of viewers watching at 30-second mark, which is below typical. So not great, right? That's what good and bad retention looks like. The longer a viewer actually watches the video, the more YouTube will recommend it. And if YouTube starts recommending your video more, that's how you get more views. So if you can keep your average view duration up and your retention up, YouTube will want to recommend that more because it's like, hey, they're watching this video longer, so it must be a good video. It must have quality content in it. Let me show it to more and more people and see how it continues to perform. Now we're going to talk about YouTube titles. And the basic goal with a title is to keep your title as simple and as short as possible, easy to read, and less amount of characters, right? So this is my main title strategy and what I've studied and seen a lot of other YouTubers do. So you should ask yourself these 3 main questions. What is the simplest way to tell the viewer what the video is about? How can I use the fewest letters or characters or words? And then what is the most interesting way that I can express what the video is about? So you want to keep this very concise. YouTube only gives you about 50 characters until it like puts the 3 little dots and then you can't see the rest of the title. And by having short, simple titles, it's easy for people to see what the video is going to be about. It's easy for people to understand what the video is going to be about and what they're going to get from clicking on that video. And it's another way to tell the story. So if you can master making a very simple title, which is so much easier said than done. I struggle with this a lot. And I probably write out 10, 15 titles for one video and try to do it as short as possible while still making sense. So let's go back to these same videos that we just discussed. They're simple, they're short, and they're uniquely expressed. Asking super yacht owners how to make $1 million. It's simple. You clearly understand what the video is going to be about, and it's uniquely expressing what the video is going to be about. Instead of asking the title, hey, how did you get rich? right? Asking a boat owner how he got rich or how did you get rich? That's just boring. It's not giving enough context. It's a little too simple. But when you throw in words like super yacht owners and $1 million, those are very eye-catching. It's a unique way to express it, but it's still pretty short. Same with Graham Stephan, how I bought a Tesla for $78 a month. It's very simple. He's communicating the point very simply, like he's going to tell you how he bought a Tesla for $78 a month, and it's uniquely expressed. A boring way you could have said that is how I got a really good deal on a Tesla. That's probably not going to get as many views as how I bought a Tesla for $78 a month. You see what I mean, right? If you can uniquely express the title and the title in a short and simple way, that's how you're going to get more views. Ryan Traham, I survived the world's quietest room. Instead of, so that video was about him going in this room that is completely soundproof and you can't hear anything out, you can't hear anything in. So he could have easily titled that video, I visited the world's quietest room. But it's not that exciting, right? But by packaging this thumbnail and title and saying, I survived the world's quietest room, that makes you question, hey, like, he's probably going to do a challenge. Like, was there some hardship in there, right? So it's simple, it's short, and it's uniquely expressing. Same with Mr. Beast. Would you swim with sharks for $100,000? The character count is there. It's pretty short. It is simple. And it's asking you a pretty straightforward question. Would you swim with sharks for $100,000? It's uniquely expressing it, where he said, if you swim with these sharks, I'll give you $100,000. That's actually kind of more unique. But instead of, hey, me and my friends jumped in a tank with sharks and I gave them money. That's long. It's not as exciting as would you swim the sharks for $100,000. So as you make more videos and come up with more ideas, you'll get better and better at coming up with titles. And just to hit it home once again, a great title and a great thumbnail will give you lots of clicks. Very simple. If you package your video properly, right, thumbnail and title, you'll get lots of clicks. And that will ultimately lead to more views, which is your goal. Have a great title, have a great thumbnail, package it together, get a lot of clicks, will help you get more views. I'm going to show you exactly how you can keep your retention high. There's basically 3 main principles. Number 1 is you have to have a great intro or hook the viewer. So just like that past example, the video that didn't have great retention, it had that steep drop off in the beginning, was because I didn't hook the viewer in properly. I didn't deliver on my thumbnail and title in the first 30 seconds of the video. So if you have a thumbnail and title that shows I survived the world's quietest room, and it takes a minute or a minute 30 seconds for you to actually talk about what the world's quietest room is, there's a very good chance that people are going to click off that video. So if you have a great hook and a great intro that I survived the world's quietest room, and in the first 5 seconds, you're already in the world's quietest room, you're setting up to survive in there for 45 minutes, people are going to be interested because what they clicked on is what they're getting in the video. So having a great intro to hook the viewer in is one way to keep up high retention. Number 2 is pacing. So what pacing actually means is how quickly your editing is flowing, how much you're keeping the viewer engaged in your video. So you can do this by adding in lots of B-rolls, lots of sound effects, lots of clips, lots of fast cuts, zoom ins, crop outs, crop ins, music. All of those things add into pacing and what keeps your engagement high. If you have high engagement, there's a very good chance that your average view duration is going to stay high because the video is not as boring. If something's changing every second, your video is probably not that boring, which keeps the viewer engaged and it doesn't give them a chance to click out of the video. The second you let up on pacing and engagement, you give the viewer an opportunity to click off your video, which kills your retention. And number 3, it's very simple. It sounds kind of cliche, but make a great video. If you have a really interesting topic and you're interesting in your video and you put a lot of effort into the editing, into getting different film angles, having high quality audio, good lighting, all of the aspects that make a great video, have a really good video idea, that's what's going to keep your retention high and keep people watching. If you just overall have a shitty video, great thumbnail, great title, people click on it, and they watch the first 10 seconds or 30 seconds and they're like, this video is shit, they click off, your view average view duration goes down, YouTube doesn't recommend the video, and you lose all those views and that momentum that YouTube algorithm's giving you from people clicking on it. So if you don't have high retention, YouTube will throw you to the back of the bus and you're not going to get any views. So overall, in wrapping this up, basically all you have to do is get more clicks. You have to make people watch the whole video. And if you do those two things together, you will have explosive growth on social media. On YouTube. It's a very simple formula, a lot easier said than done, but the greatest YouTuber right now, his name's Jimmy Mr. Beast. This is what he preaches. Get more people to click on your video, make people watch the entire video, and your video will have exponential growth. It's literally as simple as that. So focus on those things that we just spoke about, and you'll be on your way to having a massive, massive YouTube channel. I'm going to show you exactly how I make all of the thumbnails for my YouTube channel, and it's a pretty simple process. It takes time to get better and better, but this is my exact workflow, and it's pretty straightforward. You don't have to be super techie. Like I said, just takes a little bit of practice. So the website I use to make my thumbnails is canva.com. Now, Canva has a free version, and they do have a paid version. I am on the paid version. I think it's like $10 a month, but you do get a lot of cool features and other graphics, but you can definitely use the free version for this. So I'm going to show you exactly how I created this thumbnail. And you can see I do variations of thumbnails just because I take thumbnails super, super seriously, and you should too, to grow your YouTube channel. But I'm going to show you exactly how I made this thumbnail, which essentially was for this video right here. From depression to $8 million, my story. So in order to make that thumbnail, we're going to start with a clean slate so you can't see anything. So the first thing that you notice here is a big clear image of myself. So that's what you're going to have to start with and get that clear image. I'll teach you how to get such a clear photo and a well-lit photo with minimal gear. You could do this with an iPhone. This was actually taken on an iPhone, believe it or not. So what I like to do is come over to my uploads, right? You obviously bring in the clear image. So you can see this was the original image that I took with my iPhone, and it turned into this. Now, how do we get from that to that? So once you upload the image into Canva, they have this feature called background remover. You click it and it does all the work. It's absolutely amazing. Saves you a lot of time than going with an eraser and doing all that kind of crud. Any day now. Okay, so you can see it clearly removed the background. So we'll make this a little smaller, make this a little smaller. So you can see we're well on our way to that photo. I'll zoom out a little bit. So now we want to properly size it. The thing with YouTube thumbnails that you need to know is they have to be very, very clear. You don't want to overcomplicate them, and you want the message to come across super, super simple. So we'll just put myself pretty big because that is the message I want to convey. It's like, hey, it's me, right? I overcame depression and made $1 million, whatever, made $10 million, whatever it was. So now we got to work on a background, right? So you can come into elements here on Canva and basically type in anything. So you can type in blue sky, and it'll give you a blue sky, right? I'm going to actually try another variation of this thumbnail. Maybe I'll actually use it. So what you do is you click on the image and you click, you can click set images background. Now you always want to have your background blurry because you don't want to take it away. You don't want to take away from the main image, which is yourself. So you can click on that background image. You can click edit image, and then here where you click see all, you can actually adjust the blur. See, so I made it a little bit blurry. So you can tell it's a sky, but not really. I'll make myself a little bit bigger, right? Making thumbnails is all about adjustments. You're going to constantly be tweaking and seeing what looks good, what doesn't. That's why I always make variations. You can see this is a completely different picture, completely different background. So we'll try this background just for an example. Now the next element is text. So you can see it has a nice little text bar here where they actually give you some pre-made texts with your own fonts. I find simple is better for me, right? you got to kind of pick a style. If you come into my channel, relatively, I have a style with more or less the same fonts, right? So I come over back to Canva and I click text, and I like to just start with a regular text font. What you could do here, once you find a text you like, you can always just copy it and then paste it in. But for example purposes, I'll show you how I get it to look like this. So you can see the font is Open Sauce Semi. So we'll come in here, we'll change the font to Open Sauce Semi Bold. We'll change the color to yellow, and then we'll add that little shadow effect that looks super cool. So if you click on this here, you can see it has an effect, and this is what it looks like. So it's a shadow effect, and it's got some other stuff going. So we'll do a shadow effect. It's got some offsets. It's got some blur. The shadow is going to be black. Let's just click on this. Transparency is all the way up, and blur is at 42. So transparency all the way up. Blur is at 42. And the offset is up a little bit. So the offset is up a little bit. There you go. And then I had the text actually in bold. There we go. Looks a lot better. And then we'll just type in 8 million. So now we just made the text that we wanted. And then we'll put it all the way in the back. So we'll make this bigger. And then I will adjust it. And then I will send it backward. Boom. Perfect. We'll make it a little higher so you can see that M a little bit better. Make it a little bit bigger. There you go. And then we have this one. So it's basically the same font, just smaller. So what I'll do is I'll copy and then paste that. And then I'll put $15. Whoops. $15. We'll make it smaller. And then we'll change it to white, just so it stands out a little bit more. Boom. And then we'll add in this little arrow. So we'll go to Elements, and then you can type in arrow. And you can see basically all of these are free. So on Canva, this is free. The ones with these little crowns, Pro, that's where you upgrade. But again, most of the stuff I use is completely free. So I'll go ahead and throw in this little arrow, turn it there. So we go $15 to 8 million. We'll make it a little smaller. Boom. So you can see the elements of this thumbnail. It's very, very simple. It's very clear. I actually almost like this one a little bit better because that background is a little bit busy. Now you can see here, I edited the colors and stuff on this one. So here you can click on edit. I edited the colors of my face. So you can click edit. You can adjust the brightness. You can adjust the saturation. Clarity is the other one that I'd use just to make it, you can see it kind of sharpens that image. You don't want to over edit it. You still want to make it look a little bit realistic. So that just looks a little bit better. I pop a little bit more. Now, this is something else that I like to do is add this shadow around me. It makes you pop off the background a little bit more. For some reason, my Canva is a little messed up. I don't know why, but check this out. Whenever I do shadows, it removes the coloring of my photo. So I have to take an extra step. I've used 3 other people's Canva and they don't do this. Only mine does. But essentially what I like to do is use the glow, and then you can make it bigger. You can make it a little bit more transparent so it really stands out, and then you can blur it a little bit just to give you that nice little outline so you pop off the background. And there you go. That's the basics of a thumbnail. And you want the thumbnail to clearly convey your message and do it as simple as possible. So I just want to show you some other examples. Right, so I've been testing out some new features, but basically look, is Tesla worth the hype? And I have a little shocked emoji or a shocked word, and I'm in the Tesla. It's gonna take you practice. I'm gonna show you some of my oldest videos that the thumbnails were very, very bad. As you can see, these are really, really bad thumbnails. All of these are just absolutely terrible. But as you go, you get better. See, this one was a little bit better. This one was a little bit better. This one was a little bit better. And you can see I'm starting to get a little bit better. These are still pretty bad. This one's a little bit better. Started working in that shadow feature. I recently just updated this one simply and easily. This one was a little bit better. This one I just updated. This one is, I think, when I started getting a lot better. I started learning, hey, let's make that face the main image. These are a little bit better, a little complicated, but still you can see the progression of how much better it's getting. This one, very simple, very easy. This was a popular thumbnail style, but you can see it's starting to get a lot better. Images are a lot clearer. Text is nice, big, and bold. They're a lot simpler for the most part. The simpler you can make the thumbnail while still conveying your message, the better it's going to be. So I asked Shopify millionaires for business advice. I'm asking this girl, clearly she makes 900K. Shocking, right? Here, why you should quit your job. This is conveying that I quit my job. I'm done. So this, again, the simpler you can convey your message, the better that thumbnail is going to perform. And you can see now I would say my thumbnails are getting pretty good. But that is the process of how I make my thumbnail. Just keep practicing. If you're not great in the beginning, I promise you it'll get a lot better as you go. It's taken me over a year to get really, really good at this. If you enjoyed the past 30 minutes of this video, go ahead in the description box below. There is a link to check out my full course, Content University. In that course, you're going to learn how to create content as far as short form content, YouTube content, etc., etc. If you're starting a business or personal brand, I would definitely check it out. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.